Hi, I'm Jay, and today we're doing something fun, something that is fly tying related, but not for fishing. Stay tuned. So today we're doing something that's a little fun. Often when people hear that you tie flies, you get some oddball requests. So to help out a good friend of ours, a fellow hiker, somebody who enjoys the outdoors, what I've been asked to do is tie a couple dragonfly patterns. We're going to add those to a small wire, something that can be clipped to a hat that this person intends on wearing as they hike to keep away the black flies, the mosquitoes, and so forth. I don't know if that works. I hear that it does. I've never been bothered by it myself hiking, the bugs and whatnot, but we're going to tie this up for them, and I really hope you enjoy this quick little video. The pattern we're tying is a typical dry terrestrial dragonfly or damselfly type pattern. A little discoloration does not hurt the foam. In my eyes, it helps it be a little bit more realistic. We'll begin by unlocking the thread on with a nice long tag. Bring the tag underneath. So I can lift the legs out of the way. You can tell that I have not tied many of these with my awkwardness. Now there will be a little bit of a gap top and bottom, which is okay. I think it kind of makes the body look more realistic as it's segmented. I'm putting 6 segments in this body. They're all roughly equal in size, though they can get bigger as we get towards the end. What becomes this is the head of the body. I'm going to stop at 5 only because I'm at the end of my pin, but when we put this onto a hook, we will add the one more segment. And now we can just whip finish. Save your tag end that's right up the middle. I do like to take just a touch of head cement and put it on each segment. Just add a little bit of durability to the threads. And now carefully, kind of have to pinch and push and twist slightly just to get this to slide off. What I'm using as my needle is a miscast jig hook. It came with no bend, so I just made sure that the point was nice and sharp, and it works perfectly for what I want. For the body of this fly, so I put it on the same hook that I would use if I was going to fish this. So this is a size 8. It's a TMC 2457. It's kind of a caddis pupa hook. Size 10 would also be okay. But it's just your typical caddis pupa type hook. We use our same thread. Lock it on. I walk it down to about the point. I want to leave a little bit of space up near the front of this fly as I finish off the body. So I'm lining it up so I can tie it down in the same spot of the foam. There we go. And now as you can see, that segment's a little bit more closed up. When I lift these two, I have a little bit more space here in the front for our next step. So once I'm happy with that, give a little bit of pressure straight up, add a few more wraps before I go, and I will clip this tag. And then you can pull up on the front, snip these like so, save our scrap, and now we can tie. We're just going to walk our thread back and forth over the front of this foam and make a nice bed of thread. And again, we can get a touch of just a drop, just a little bit to saturate the threads. Now, examples I've seen of this use peacock feathered legs, very similar to what you would use for a hopper pattern. But what I have is some cheap black hackle, inexpensive, don't use your fancy stuff. And I'm stripping the barbs just so I have just a clear stem. I'll do that to a couple of them. If these were a little bit longer, it'd be a little bit easier for what we're going to do, but this is what I had on hand. But these can be a little dirty. They can have a little bit of the barbs left on the stem. One example I tied, I just took scissors and I trimmed away the barbs and left little, the little spiky barbs. But what we're going to do is take two, line them up fairly close to equal, and then we're just going to tie a knot in them and make ourselves some hopper legs. Now the tips on these get pretty thin, so I am going to just trim. Like so. I'll do the same to the other. These do not need to be that pretty. Not sure how well these show up in the picture. That's just a very simple, thin, you know, what we would normally think of as a hopper leg. The only difference is instead of being made with a pheasant feather, I'm just using the quill from these cheap small hackle feathers. Now I picked black, so the stem would be mostly dark, though as we do peel some of these barbs off, you know, you see patches of brown and tan and the black as well. So I'm not fishing with this. If I was, I'd want the pheasant tail legs instead of these legs that we're tying now, because they would be a little bit more durable and a little bit stiff to aid with floating the fly. This is going to work out just fine for the hat pin. God, I don't even know if I'm going to keep this video. Secure those into place. These legs, I think, came out a little bit better. I'm going to hold them at length and secure them in place, like so. And we can just let them go at whichever angle they wish. That's totally fine. Our wings are represented by two fairly thin white rooster hackle, nothing expensive. You want them to be about the length of the body. They don't have to be wide feathers at all. They can have somewhat of a point to them. And I've just grabbed a couple cheap necks out of my collection, out of my inventory, that if I was going to tie hundreds of these, I would search for a neck that would have better feathers, you know, give me the most choice for my tying, and so that each fly would look the same one after the other. So this feather is about the length of the body. I'll just strip the stem. This one also about the same. Put them one on top of the other, curving down. Line them up. I'm just going to hold them right down the center of the top of the fly. Lock them in place. And then I can angle them one to the left, one to the right. Add a couple of locking wraps. Trapping some barbs, that's not a problem. This is not to be a pretty fly by any means. You know, dragonflies are fairly scary looking, especially if you're a mosquito. And And before we continue, I'm going to take one of my short pieces that I had left and cut that right in half. I just want to flatten it. So I have a piece about 1/2 inch, 3/4 of an inch of that same material, but I cut it so it's thinner on one side. Right here. Lock it in place just a little bit behind the eye. We want to leave ourselves some room to be able to lock it down. And we can walk our thread up to the base of our feather, like so. We have a larva lace. This is the Fire Star dubbing box. We use these sparkle dubbing for ice flies an awful lot, but there's a dark green, there's a medium green, there's a chartreuse type green, there's an olive green, there's a coppery green, gold green, gold with a little bit of green flash in it. So any of these would be great. I'm taking a little bit of the what I would consider forest green and the darker olive green, just a small pinch of each, and together they form a dubbing noodle. Where I can build up this body right here at the head. We can then take one more of these cheap black hackles. I'm going to strip it right where the barbs are, about 1 to 1.5 in length of the hook gap, like so. We're going to lock this in so I can palmer this in with the dubbing. So 1 wrap back, 2 wraps forward. It's an ugly fly at this point. These black barbs, are going in 2 different directions. Take a little bit of Velcro, kind of brush these out a little bit each way, and then I fold the barbs down so I can fold this styrofoam forward, hold it in place as I lock it down. A few wraps in front. Trim this away. And I can whip finish. And then we have our terrestrial dragonfly, damselfly. So there you have it. I hope that you found this interesting, using our fly tying skills to help out a fellow hiker. I think that will do it for us today, guys. Until next time, keep tying in tight lines.